Welcome back, and from time to time, we talk to one of my favorite people, Bill Carpou, the CEO of OCTANE, based in Southern California, and always great to have you here in New York and update us on what's going on in terms of the economics of Southern California, what you're doing in the tech industry, and everything that's happening there. So talk to me about, you're introducing a new business unit. So what is that and what's it all about?
So today here on the Nasdaq, we're introducing OCTANE Enterprise Solutions. We refer to it as OES. And OES was really been created, or has been created, as a platform to really gain greater access to capital, greater access to operational resources, and help both small and mid-sized businesses grow. At the same time, it's a source of different type of revenue for us as a nonprofit, and it will feed the nonprofit and enable us to invest more in the community and really what our charter and what our nonprofit mission is at OCTANE.
Mm-hmm. So how big are these companies then that would be eligible for the OES?
So, great question. And the companies it'll be companies that are coming out of our LaunchPad accelerator. Mm-hmm. It'll be companies that have been out maybe for some period of time, and perhaps they've raised successfully a first round of funding, so we'll help them with growth capital, and then more significantly, the operational expertise. Okay. And then just small, mid-sized businesses that are in the Southern California area.
So when you say help them with operations, like specifically what does that mean? Yeah,
so the two things, if you kind of looked at OES, one part of it will be capital, and it'll be access to capital. So that meaning the relationships that we have with both strategic and institutional venture, private investor network, family offices, any sources of capital from that perspective. Mm-hmm. On the operational side, it's a little bit differently, and think of it as consulting for smaller businesses and really getting them up the revenue curve. So it could be helping put together a strategy, a marketing plan, go-to-market strategy, help them access talent. And really one of the key components that we're really excited about is a partnership that we have with RSM Global, RSM International, which really will allow these companies to have a back office infrastructure for any type of financial reporting, and that'll be an outsourced model and will enable these companies to focus on what they do best and grow.
Well, sure. I mean, and that's so important because when you're starting a company, I mean, your head's just spinning with stuff. You're usually cash strapped, so you're always worried about how you're going to pay bills, and help with some of that big picture stuff is valuable.
Your head's spinning, and generally, an entrepreneur is not really good at that stuff.
Right.
They've got an idea, they want to get it out, they want to commercialize it, and worrying about accounts payable and receivable and financial closing and IT infrastructure and all those things, they don't really have the time, nor are they really good at it. So this is intended to give them time back and really grow the company.
So talk a little bit about the private investor network and what that means for how OCTANE operates and what it means for the companies in your network.
Yeah, so this is really key, in terms of our strategy. We've had great relationships with venture firms in the past, and then you've got these angel networks that are individuals, and what we're kind of looking at here is a super angel network. And individuals that are of high prominence in the Southern California area really want to get behind the economy and the startup economy, and so we have a very well-vetted process that very selected individuals and we'll treat them separately. So again, this is not an angel network that we get 20 people in a room and they listen to a pitch. This will all be one-on-one, and we've recently hired a director of capital markets that will, I guess the right word is manage those relationships.
And one thing I realized when I came out to visit you guys, how big ophthalmology is.
Ophthalmology is huge.
It's huge in Southern California, and you just had a conference, right?
Yes.
So update me on that industry.
So, ophthalmology, the epicenter of ophthalmology innovation is in Orange County, actually, globally. And so we had our 6th annual ophthalmology conference just 2 weeks ago. And it was by far the best that we've ever had. It just keeps getting better each year. I'm worried that the bar has gotten so big, I'm not sure how we exceed it next year. But in any case, I mean, the who's who of ophthalmology was there. Physicians, it was well represented by physicians, industry, and I mean industry CEOs, the best investors, and content, thought leadership, and just an enormous amount of positive feedback. I believe the survey we saw, 92% of the people said that they plan on coming to OTS 2020.
What were some of the interesting things you saw coming out of that conference in terms of just research or technology or new innovation or?
So, a lot of it had to do on how to make practices more efficient and make them more productive. We showcased 3 LaunchPad companies that were on the cutting edge of glaucoma and other certain treatments inside of eye care. And generally, it's a group that's got great camaraderie. Everybody seems to know each other. And I think the common thread in this whole thing is Allergan. And we had Gavin Herbert there, who started Allergan. And at some point or another, you could look at the 450 people that were in the audience, and they all trace some route back to Allergan, either directly or indirectly.
It's like the 6 degrees of separation there, yeah. So tell us about the Foundation Fighting Blindness and the two blind brothers.
So this was by far the session that was rated the most substantial during the ophthalmology conference. So Bradford and Brian Manning are two brothers. They were diagnosed with retinal blindness early on, and it was just an incredibly inspirational story. So they've gone on to open up a clothing line, and as a matter of fact, I've got the shirt on here today, and it's it's tremendous. It's the fabric and the way they've gone about it, but the business that they've set up, which is right here in Manhattan on Mercer Street, 100% of the profits go to the Foundation for Fighting Blindness. So it's a cause. They were inspirational, and they're just two great guys. Yeah. So we've encouraged everyone that participated in the conference to visit that site.
Right. And you were telling me their tags have Braille on them, so it's easy to read a size.
Yeah, and I think they got the idea when they were shopping. They go, we don't know how much this is and whatnot from that standpoint. So the tags all have Braille, but then they really needed to make the fabric soft. So to the feel, it's not a matter of how it looks, it's a matter of how it feels. And I could tell you wearing it, it's comfortable.
It looks comfortable. So you cover medtech, obviously, high tech. Any other areas that you are involved in or look to be involved in?
Yeah, so Jane, what we're trying to do here, and I use the word trying, and it's actually we are doing, is we're expanding on the success that we've had with ophthalmology. We've looked at that and said, we've put community together, we've put a source of capital next to it in Visionary Ventures. So now where do we move from there? So we're doing the same with medical aesthetics in Southern California, and we've announced that we'll have a conference on that on Friday, January 10th, leading up to the JP Morgan conference. But shifting and pivoting to tech, we've recently really done some work and found that fintech, data analytics, and cybersecurity are all really strong industries. So we're referring to them as FAC, and that's going to be a subset of the OES announcement that we're making today to really put a renewed focus on those industries and elevate the whole startup ecosystem to match some of the bigger companies that are in Southern California, such as Experian, Silence, Pack Life, CoreLogic, any number of well-run, prominent companies that are in that space.
And you're also doing a Women Leaders of OCTANE initiative. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's recent. We announced that last fall, and we've really put a lot of focus on this year. And really, the underlying premise is that women are at a disadvantage in terms of getting venture funding, and that's really the basic premise. So how do we level the playing field and open up access to capital and access to the type of expertise that'll help them grow their companies? 28% of early stage companies in high tech have at least one founder that's a woman, and only 2.2% of female entrepreneurs get venture funding. So it's very, very disproportionate. Yeah. And we're trying to be inclusive, and we're trying to not really treat women any differently from that perspective, but give them the same opportunities all entrepreneurs have.
There's some women-run unicorns out there, so I mean,
absolutely,
it's happening.
Absolutely. I've got great women on my board, and we've got great women entrepreneurs, and all we want to do is elevate the exposure that they should have to venture firms and to sources of capital. Okay,
so finally, let's talk about the High Tech Awards, which I loved hosting last year, loved being in Southern California. So tell me, what's planned for this year?
Yes, by the way, you did a great job.
Thank you. It was great to be there.
People still talk about it, and it was a tremendous event. So we've got that planned this year for September 12th. And it should run the same as last year. We view it as a celebration of success and a celebration of innovation for Southern California. And then we follow that up and kind of end the year on October 28th and 29th, we'll have our annual Medical Technology Innovation Forum. And that's kind of the event in medtech on the West Coast.
Okay, a busy year ahead.
Busy
Still.
year, yeah.
Great, thank you so much, Bill, for coming and
Jane,
updating
thanks.
us on OCTANE and everything you've got going on. So.
Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the weekend in Manhattan here.
Yes, and I mean, it's great what you're doing for entrepreneurs. So, because they need the help and support and capital and all that stuff.
Well, we love it.
Yep. Thanks so much, Bill.
Thank you.
And thank you as well. We'll be right back.